and provide you with some key takeaways. This is also a kickoff event in celebration of the surf team's 50th anniversary. The UCSD surf team is one of the most successful teams with more than 6 national titles and a legacy of community, innovation, and leadership development. Before I introduce our moderator and get this started, I want to mention a few important points and acknowledgements. A special thank you to Roxanne from the Career Center, as well as Jolyn and Casey from the Undergraduate Communications Society. Their support, partnership, and promotion of this event is much appreciated. UCS is a student organization and the premier pre-professional society for the communication department, and we are thrilled to have them be a part of this. In addition, we have some prepared questions for this event, but there will be around 25 minutes for open Q&A and additional questions for the panelists. Please review the slide for how to submit those questions. You do not have to wait until the Q&A portion to submit your questions. I am now going to stop talking and introduce and turn it over to our moderator for the event, Clayton Claiborne. Clayton is the Associate Director of Rec Classes. He is in charge of all aquatic instructional programs such as surfing, swimming, and scuba diving. Clayton's worked for recreation for over a decade and is committed to creating a successful surfing program for our students and providing leadership opportunities for student instructors. In partnership with Muir College, Clayton and his team have led programs like the annual Black Surf Week. In addition to being a surfer, he enjoys talking about all things surf, which makes him the perfect person to lead this discussion. Clayton, over to you and the panelists.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Liz, for the kind introduction. I will keep it short as we are here to focus on basically these 4 really UCSD legends of surfing, if you will. San Diego has a rich surfing history. UCSD has a rich surfing history. So I'm honored to be able to be a part of this, getting these individuals together and hearing what they have to say. And hopefully, you know, we can learn a lot from them. So without further ado, I will let them introduce themselves. We're going to start just to give an idea of the order here with Evan, then Coco, Izzy, and Tyler. But they're going to introduce their name, their major, their job title or a company, and the role they do. Just for fun, we're going to hear maybe about their favorite taco shop in town. You might get some new ideas you can jot down. And of course, if there's anything else that they want to share. And then we'll get into some group questions. So Evan, you want to kick us off, please?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. My name's Evan Slater. I graduated in 1994, so before the internet. My major was sociology, and grew an affinity for that subject over the years there. My current role is VP of Global Marketing at Billabong. Been in the industry really since I got out of college, so it's been a very rewarding and fulfilling career, and I feel very fortunate to be able to still apply my passion to my work. And as far as my favorite taco shop, I'd have to go with the original. I'd say Roberto's was one of the OGs and pretty awesome. And yeah, that'd be my go-to. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Evan.
Yeah, thank you.
Coco, you want to step in there?
Hi, everybody. I'm Coco Tejani, and I also graduated from UCSD in communication, Muir College. I am co-owner of Surf Diva, and Surf Diva is based here in La Jolla. We are a surf school and a retail shop, and I handle the retail portion of our company. This is my twin sister, Izzy. Hi. Oh, my favorite taco shop. I have to say it's Galaxy Taco. Galaxy Taco is right up the street from Surf Diva on Avenida de la Playa. We love it. We go there a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, Coco. Go ahead, Izzy.
Hi, my name's Izzy Tejani. I'm her twin sister. You can tell we're not identical. We're kind of opposite twins. I'm the surf and she's the diva of Surf Diva, and she lives up to that name. Absolutely. I handle everything that's related to the beach, the surfing schools, the camps, the hard goods, and we're known as one of the first all-women surf school in the world, and now we've been co-ed since the early 2000s. Next year, we're celebrating 25 years, so it's pretty exciting. UCSD was one of the best times of our lives. We loved it. I was on the surf team. We were national champions that year, a couple years in 1988, overall women's champion. And after that, I got to surf professionally on the PLA, the Pro Longboard Tour. Blacks is one of my all-time favorite spots to surf. And my favorite taco shop is also Galaxy Taco because it's right up the street and they have homemade churros and dipped in vanilla ice cream with hot chocolate. So you can't go wrong there.
Wait, and your major?
Oh, my major was communication and literature writing. I double majored with a minor in French lit. I really like to say my major was surfing, but
Minor, maybe, yeah. But that's awesome. Thank you. That segues well into Tyler.
Hi, my name's Tyler Calloway, and my major was business at UH in Hawaii, so I didn't go to UCSD. My job title is president, founder, and janitor at All Water LLC, which is, we make a number of different products, and I do some consulting still in the surf industry. I've been in the industry for a long time and done a lot of different things. My favorite taco shop would have to be Oscar's Mexican on Turquoise Street. It is literally a hole in the wall, but the food is really good.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Thank you all. Now we know a little bit more about you guys. Tyler, you know, going to UH in Hawaii, I mean, could be the next best thing, the UCSD and surfing at UH, right? So right on. Okay, guys, so let's get into some kind of group questions for all of you. You guys can just take your turns. The first question we have is if you can briefly share about your professional journey and ultimately how you turned your passion of surfing into a career. Give you guys about a minute each to try to get through that one. Evan, go ahead, please.
Sure. So yeah, I'll be pretty transparent here. I had full aspirations of being a pro surfer through my high school career, and was close friends with a lot of the guys that came up in the 90s as some of the top surfers in the world, guys like Taylor Knox and Robin Shadow and Kelly Slater. Unfortunately, I wasn't as skilled as those guys, and the good side of that is that I had college as an option. So as they were going off to on the tour, I went to UCSD, still very focused on surfing and trying to develop my skills and figuring out what I wanted to do. But God, there's no better school than UCSD to be able to develop your academic and your future career, and as well as continue to aspire to be the best surfer that you can be. And that's kind of how it happened. I mean, I can get into the details, but it really came down to me finding a passion for writing. Sociology made me more curious about the world and how people interact with each other. And it kind of merged post college career into a job as an associate editor at Surfer Magazine in 1997. So that really like sparked my whole career within the industry, and it was truly diving deep into the culture that is surfing, and then also the skills that I learned at UCSD. So very thankful to have gone to that school.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Coco, I think, can you share with us next?
Sure, yeah. Well, when I graduated, I was really thinking about what industry I wanted to go in. So I had a couple different offers. One was a pharmaceutical company on Torrey Pines Road. Another one was the Chamber of Commerce. I had done an internship there. And then I had an interview with a small startup, and it was in the surf industry. And I thought, I really want to work somewhere. I want to work in the surf industry. And I was their fourth employee, and that company is Reef. So Reef Sandals, I was really grateful to get hired there. I did everything. I wore a lot of different hats. I was the assistant national sales manager, and I did trade shows. I started, sales goals for our sales reps, and it was a fun time. I realized then, so the two owners are siblings, they're brothers, and I realized, wow, I could eventually maybe work with my sister. These guys are doing it, and this is a really fun company. So I was there for a number of years, and then had an opportunity through the chamber to live in Spain for a year as the ambassador of goodwill for the city of San Diego. So I took a year sabbatical from Reef and went to Spain for a year and went to the business school there. Came back and had an offer to go back there, but I moved to LA to work for a Disney licensee, where I really wanted apparel experience, to work in a factory and work with designers, pattern makers. And that's where I really learned to love fashion as well. So kind of in a nutshell, I loved my degree at UCSD really helped me with communicating, verbal, written, and then picking the right industry.
And languages.
Languages, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Great, thank you. Izzy, let's hear about your journey, your passion, turning that into passion.
Sure, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I'm very passionate about surfing and skateboarding. One of my first jobs out when I graduated was teaching SAT classes for the Princeton Review. I also taught on campus at Oasis, the Office of Academic Support and Instructional Services. So tutoring, teaching, that's always been something I like, as well as event planning. I worked for the YMCA, running their surf competitions and surf camps, and learned a lot on how to run a nonprofit, how to make things work on a dime with no resources. And I had to do a lot of hiring, not just employees, but volunteers. You have to be very careful who you choose. So picking jobs that always just sounded that fun, that I would want to do, whether I was paid for it or not, that's kind of the balancing act. Really, is this something you want to do just because it interests you and you want to give back? And that's always been the level that we've been at, is it something that works for our heart? And we've always thought with our hearts more than the bottom line, and it's always steered us in a good spot, in a good direction. Does this sound like we love coming to work? Does this sound like something that's passionate? And absolutely on all angles. So I've also done a lot of writing and journalism. I had a column in Surfing Magazine and did some journalism and some on-air camera work for STV, Surf Skate Snow TV, which ended up being the precursor to Field TV. So for us, it's just about really enjoying what we're doing. We get to travel a lot, and we get to hire a lot of people. We've hired over 800 employees. Here at Surf Diva, we love hiring Tritons. They get to the top of the stack because we know what they had to do to get into school and survive. And so we really appreciate being able to give back and give people opportunities, like full circle.
Nice. I hope a lot of people watching this are pay attention to that right there, right? Which is great. I like that you said, it seems like you can remember through some of your jobs on campus, like the experience you gained and taking that with you, right, after UCSD. Awesome. All right, Tyler, last but not least, let's hear it.
Well, I came from the East Coast. I grew up in New York, and I went to college in Hawaii, as you know. Right out of college, I moved back to New York and I thought I wanted to go into advertising. And I got into an account executive training program on Madison Avenue. And I lasted about 2 months. It was about the most corporate kiss-ass environment I've ever seen. And I hated it. I couldn't have hated it more. And I came out to California, and I sort of bluffed my way into a repping job on the East Coast at one of the first action sports trade shows that was up in Long Beach. This was back in the 80s. And, back then you could kind of fake it till you make it. And there was no internet. People couldn't check up. So I started repping Local Motion, Astro Deck, a bunch of other lines on the East Coast. And after about 9 months, I got an offer from a company in California. And I had a meeting with the guy, and I told him, nah, I wasn't interested. I was going to stay on the East Coast. And I walked out of the meeting, and the temperature had dropped like 30 degrees. It was, fall in the East Coast. And I did a U-turn halfway down the sidewalk and went back in, and the guy was still paying the bill. And I said, we ought to talk a little bit more. And I ended up here. And that company was Beachtown. So I did all of California as a rep for Beachtown for about 3 years. And from there, I moved on to an ad agency. And I was the account executive for Pacific Sunwear when they had their very first. They were about 40 stores going for 100 then. And I did that for a couple of years. And we did some interesting things, like a big, we had all the brands come to one of the what would be now a qualifying series contest at Malibu. And I put on a President's Heat. We just lost Michael Thompson, but he happened to win that. It was funny, I couldn't get like all the team managers to call me back and bring their teams to support Pacific Sunwear. So I knew, luckily, from surfing everywhere and living in Hawaii, I knew most of the presidents of the companies. And I created a President's Heat where I called and left messages for the top of the surf industry, roster, like every president, like, what's it regarding? Half an hour at Malibu by yourself. And they all called me back, like in record time, like, what's this? So we had a President's Heat, and MT won it, and it was perfect, like 6 foot Malibu. And so it's sad to lose him. From there, I went on to Rusty and became the marketing director there. I was there about 5 years, and then went on to Reef and did some stuff like the Reef Girl there and a bunch of events, and that was fun. But I really wasn't passionate about footwear. I was more passionate about stuff that you could actually ride and would change your surfing. And so in 1997, I founded FCS in the US. And I did that for about 20 years and finished up there about 3 years ago and formed my own All Water LLC. And I'm doing a bunch of different things. And it's been a fun ride.
Awesome. Still going. Were you and Coco at Reef overlapping at all?
No, I was after her, probably 5 or 6 years at least, I would think.
Cool, interesting. Well, good. You said some things about kind of bluffing your way in to get started. It kind of leads us to this next question about any advice that you would have for someone who's interested in exploring or pursuing a career in the surf or action sports industry. What do you have for someone who just wants to try to break in? Evan, do you want to?
Sure, yeah. I'd say the surf industry has changed quite a bit over the last few decades, and I mean it's no secret it's contracted quite a bit over the last number of years, probably getting to the size that it should be. The reality is, though, there's still 25-30 million surfers in the world. And there's products that the surf industry makes that are essential for surfers. So it's encouraging for me that, we can almost like reset the culture after some of the excesses of the 90s and early 2000s. And as far as like anybody interested in a career in the surf industry, I just say there's so many different skill sets that can apply to what the industry does, right? Everything from design to art and creative to marketing to even on the logistics side and sourcing materials with other factories. I mean, it really is an industry that is 360-degree, all encompassing as far as skill sets that are required. And I also would say that just a passion for the sport itself and being, just dedicated to the ocean is a big plus, right? Just because it helps you believe in what you do every single day and be motivated to get up and go to work every single day because you are working for quote unquote a surf company. And as far as like finding opportunities, I say this all the time. Find the companies that you identify with, that you connect with, and find out what kind of internships they have based on your skill sets, because there's no better way to get your foot in the door than just come in, work for free, or get a small paycheck, and put in the hours and learn as much as you can. I think we've all probably, Coco, Izzy, and Tyler could probably all say the same thing. We all did that at a certain stage, and it's some of the more valuable time that you'll put into building your career is just connecting at that ground floor and being willing to take on anything and at any time, just to learn and grow. So I don't know if that helps, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Let's just keep that one going on down the line to Coco, Izzy, and then Tyler.
I totally agree with Evan. And when I was at UCSD, one of my on-campus jobs is I worked at the Associated Students Internship Office, and I realized the value of having an internship. And I worked in the office, so I would help my peers. Write a cover letter, get ready for an interview. What do you need to put in a resume? And I think internships are really important. And picking the right company is key, because if you like the surf industry, it's important to try to get an internship or a job in the surf industry. And making a decision not based on money, because the surf industry is not the pharmaceutical industry. It's not, there are other industries that pay a lot more. So if that's the most important thing, I would say, that, it's not really the best solution. One thing that I would say to people who want to break in the industry is get a job in retail. Work at a surf shop, really get to know the products, get to know the reps, get to know and understand what it takes to sell, to do marketing. I love finding out what our staff likes to do. If somebody has a talent in photography or in merchandising to help with the window display, working for in retail, and all the brands have retail shops. So, that's a really good way to go too.
Awesome. Thank you. Coco, what do you think? Or Izzy, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We confuse people. We confuse ourselves. No. I agree with what Coco said, and Evan, definitely internships. I also think that if you want to make yourself really valuable, get good at sales. That's what the surf industry is about. Is everyone wants to do marketing or events, and I've seen the industry go up and I've seen it go down and snap back and expand. And like Coco said, if you're good at sales, you start on the retail floor, and then you work your way up based on your sales ability. They always will keep their salespeople, but the marketing crew will go and all that. So, and then sales are changing so quickly with social media. It's amazing how smaller brands can grow quickly now because of social media. And it's been really great for us because we can show off our brand every day in a way that's good for actually that day and that moment. Like today, a big fog bank rolled in. I thought, I should snap a picture of this and say, where are the surfers? Like, you can't even see the class anymore. Divas in the Mist. So, having fun with it and just being able to pivot quickly is super important. And like Coco said, just follow your passion. Find something that you really like and get on that retail floor or work at the different starting points and paying out from there.
Nice. So I'm hearing a lot of sales, marketing, retail, and passion, right? Awesome. Tyler, we'll get to you. And I just actually wanted to ask if you can explain like what repping is, like what a rep does, just in case some people maybe don't know, just
Okay.
on the side.
I'll do that first. So a rep is a sales representative. Basically, you're a salesman, you have a territory, and you visit the stores in that territory. You build relationships with them. You take orders for their product, or if you're good, you are able to convince people in a very, we'll say, covert way that they want to buy your product, that they're going to do well with your product. And there's a lot of ways to do that, and we don't have time to go into all of them here, but it's about building relationships, not only with the buyer in the store or the owner of the store, but the guys and girls on the floor that really interface with the customers. One of the things that Coco and Izzy said, and I think Evan probably said it too, is retail experience. And that used to be my first thing was, you want to be in the industry, get a job in a surf shop, find out what makes money change hands, what makes a good surf shop run, what are the hardest things that they have to deal with. And if you want to be in the industry, not in retail, you're going to find out what you need to do, what your customers are thinking, before you go and see them. You're going to instinctively know, like, this guy does not want to see me as a rep on 5 o'clock on a Friday. He's way too busy and he's up to his neck and stuff, so you learn the mindset of your customers. You learn what makes the money change hands from the consumers. You learn what a good sales rep is versus a bad one, what to say, what not to say. Those kind of things are invaluable. But again, that's the thing of going last. Like, most of the stuff's already been said and put really well. With social media, I would say digital marketing, because today everything's different. In years past, you could put an ad in a magazine and put your phone number or your web address when we had them, and that would do it. Business would come your way. It's all about digital marketing now, and there are a lot of kids at UCSD and kids that are still in high school that already have a good grasp of digital marketing. Those skills are super important. And I guess, last but not least, I would say that, competing really helped me, because I competed on the East Coast. I competed in Hawaii when I was there. I competed here in California when I moved here. I got to know everybody through that, and because I did pretty well, like Evan did. Like, people know your name, they know who you are, even if you kind of haven't met them. So that opens doors for you when you're in the industry. Not everybody's a competitor, not everybody likes competition, but there are other positions, whether it's an internship or being involved in events or different things, that put you in a position where you get a chance to make a good impression on a number of people in the industry. That's gold for your career. So those are the building blocks, I think.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So moving on, you guys, we got some questions that are just more for the individual, and we're just going to have one of you answer each of these, and we'll stick to the order that we've been working well so far. So Evan, let's see. Yeah, Evan, let's start with you. What would you share with students who don't know what they want to do, and they're trying to figure out what career path is right for them?
Great question, because I think there's so much pressure on kids throughout the ages to sort of pick a path once you enroll in a university and just stick to that career. I went in as an econ major. Like, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do, and I was pretty much 100% one track mind. Focusing on Black's Beach and the surf team and stuff. So kind of shifted over to sociology, and then suddenly found a major that I could really connect with, and also help develop my writing skills. And it just comes through little choices, I would say, in doing what you feel good about. And I would just encourage anybody who's choosing a path or a major that doesn't feel quite right to them, or that they don't live and breathe or just dream about. Eventually that's going to come back and bite you and cause you to be disillusioned down the road. So everybody has gifts and everybody has talents. And so I would just highly encourage you to keep seeking those out, and then pursuing whatever subjects that you can keep honing those skills within the university. There's so many different ways you can go there. And then also just look outside the university itself and see how you can keep diving into new things that might continue to build what you feel is ultimately your foundation.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Let's see. Coco, what advice do you have for someone who is navigating through a career they may not be happy about? I think Evan just spoke a little bit about it, but what do you think's best route for them to take?
So I think that I think it's totally okay to have feelings of this might not be whatever you're doing the right career. I mean, I was a linguistics major and thought I'm not happy going to my classes. I don't know if this is for me because we grew up speaking French. So we speak French, we speak English, a little bit, Spanish, and then I learned Italian and I thought this is the major that I want to go. And then I realized I wasn't happy. So I switched to communication and was a lot happier. And I think though, in a career, when you're looking for a job, it's important to kind of know, even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, things that you like. So for me, I liked fashion and I liked business. I liked sales. I really realized I had never worked in retail before working at Reef. I had never worked, I'd only worked on campus at the internship office, but I knew things that I thought that I would like. And I think it's important to give it also time because, I started out at the bottom of the tier, you're a freshman all over again in that job. And it's important to be realistic and to know that you're not going to start out running a company. You're going to start out wearing lots of different hats and doing different things. So it's important to realize that you have to start doing that. You have to have a good attitude and to be loyal, to just to never burn your bridges because this industry is very small, and it's okay to try different jobs within the industry, but just to always be authentic to who you are and to the people you work with.
Awesome. Thank you. I like that. That was pretty simple, but profound in a way that you're not just going to start out at the top running the whole show. I think students look up and they see that and they see how can I get from here to there. And it's definitely a journey, right? So thanks. Izzy, how have you defined success in your career?
So that's a very good question because we've had a lot of amazing moments, and looking back, the amazing moments have to do with really liking the people you work with. And for me, being able to travel and having opportunities to do things that are challenging and fulfilling. Like in 2005, we published a book with Harcourt Press, Surf Diva, The Girl's Guide to Getting Good Waves. We got to go on a national book tour and speak at all these different bookstores, and people were waiting for us at the airport, and ladies were holding our purses when we went to Rockefeller Center and got interviewed on the Today Show. And that was pretty much like a pinch me now moment.
It was cool.
The first time we got to go to the Surfer Pole Awards, pinch me now, I can't believe I'm here. Like, Japan, Australia, Costa Rica. I mean, and then I think for me, we do a lot of surf camps and events here and in Costa Rica. And sometimes I take one moment and I just look back at other people having a really good time. And I think, wow, I created this moment in time where these people have gotten a breakthrough in their surfing. They've learned from us. They've come back and they're like high-fiving us going, thanks, you changed my life. And to me, that's a moment where, okay, I did this and I gave back, and that feels really good. And, being able to, like Coco said, take baby steps. I mean, there were plenty of times where we had to go and get someone coffee. We did that, or fix an old board, or wash out some wetsuits, whatever it took. I mean, we're known for being pretty hard workers, but we also take time to have fun. And I'll call a board meeting with our managers here and say, okay, we need to just go for a surf and, clock in, but we're going surfing, that kind of thing. So it's a good balance. You have to know when to just look back and see, okay, everyone's having a good time and we did it.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. It's quite a highlight role you guys got there. So this will be like our last individual question, and we're going to open it up to some Q&A from those in attending this. So Tyler, UC San Diego is constantly ranked as one of the top surfing universities in the country. What are things the university can do to uphold this reputation and strengthen it even further?
Well, that's a great question. And like San Diego has this kind of culture of surfing. It's very much a part of business here in San Diego. There's so many surfers. The biotech industry is based here, and I've done an event with them for 25 years has so many surfers that come out of that, almost every industry. And you know, the ethos here is sort of work hard, play hard, do what you love. And I'd say that kind of, you know, defines the last question you asked. Like, for me, how do you define success? Like, you know, my mom told me when I was a little kid, like, if you can find a job that you look forward to going to every morning when you get up, you're going to have a great life. You'll be successful and you'll be really happy. And she was right. And the surf industry's given me that. And, you know, everything has its ups and downs, but, you know, looking back, it's been an amazing run. For UCSD, I think it's so many of the building blocks of a surf science or surf centric program are already at UCSD. When you look at, you know, just our panelists here that have made their lives, when you look at other alumni, like people like Rusty that went to UCSD and founded Rusty Surfboards, or, you know, the people like John Sunt that, you know, has given a lot of money to the school and been super successful, but they started going to UCSD. They learned here, but they came here partially just like Evan because of the surf, and that, you know, blacks attracted them to UCSD. And I would like to see UCSD go further in sort of putting together a surf science, surf-centric curriculum that will attract more surfers. You know, we've been one of the winningest teams as coach of the surf team. I'll put that hat on now. We've been one of the winningest teams in UCSD history, but we haven't won a national title in a pretty good number of years. And one of the reasons is we don't recruit, and it's pretty hard to get into UCSD. It's, you know, 4-1, 4-2, you know, is kind of the line. So I'd like to see us be more able to attract students from all over the world that love surfing, but also are real academics. And I think that in turn strengthens not only the university and the surf team, but our local community. As you know, my fellow panelists bear witness to, their alumni that came here, went to school and settled here, and they enrich the San Diego community with who they are and what they do.
Sorry, I was muted. Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. Real quick, do you think surfing going into the Olympics is going to help possibly, you know, the surf team recruits for colleges for UCSD?
Yeah, I would think so. It's hard to know how much, but, you know, fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, right on, right on. Awesome, guys. Well, we do have one of our first question from the audience, which this can be open to any of you that wants to jump on it. But what is something you would tell young aspiring students who want to start a business of their own with their passion? So how they get started up?
I can answer. I'll
Okay.
try to answer that. I think that you know, it's important to know what your skills are when you're trying to start something, and to surround yourself with really qualified people. So you know, to start a business, you're going to need an attorney. You're going to need a CPA. You're going to, you know, a salesperson, and you can't be good at everything because you need to focus on developing whatever, if you're developing a product or if you're developing an app, whatever it is. So I would say, you know, surround yourself with qualified people, and you know, but be persistent, because it doesn't sometimes, I mean, sometimes it might happen overnight, you know, with social media, but you know, it's enjoy the journey, because this has been really fun doing what we do every single day. What Tyler said, we wake up, I mean, this is our 25th year in business, and we come to work every day so stoked
We
to
come in
to
on our
work.
birthday.
Yeah.
Just to party with our staff. So it's
Yeah.
fun like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That says a lot. Most people take that day off of work, right? Let's see. Oh, actually, I've got one more right here. This is kind of a specific one. But since you guys do a lot of hiring, you mentioned, Izzy and Coco, employers look for skills outside of academics. Are my hobbies worth being listed on my resume?
Totally.
Always
Yeah.
list your hobbies.
Always.
It's so funny how those can get you to the top of the stack. I mean, if someone's interested in surfing, or if they were a junior lifeguard, water polo player, anything athletic, shopping, fashion. I mean,
Yeah.
we have so many different
Photography.
and customer service. If you were a Girl Scout troop leader, we had 2 coaches that we hired that started their own Girl Scout troop when they were 17 years old, and they had these little 8-year-old girls that they took all over and taught them how to surf. Wow, that's amazing.
I think
So-
it really differentiates who you are, because we get dozens and dozens of resumes every week, and seeing what somebody's hobbies are, what their interests are, really makes them stand out.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that's really good stuff for our students to hear, you know, right now, those that could be entering into the job market soon.
Make sure your resume on your cover letter that you take some time to figure out who you're writing it to and why. That's very important. Take some time to customize it if that's the job you really want.
And I think also it's important to not embellish, you know, to be humble and be true. When somebody puts they speak fluent French, I'll conduct the whole interview in French. So anyway, so yeah, it's fun to be, you know, it's important to be true.
Nice, nice. Let's see. I think we got one that's kind of guided towards Evan. What is something that you wish you knew when you began working in the surf industry? Maybe something you could tell your younger self, right?
That's a great question. You know, I would say that coming out of college, you feel so much pressure to find your future path, and you maybe take yourself a little too seriously and all those things. And I guess it comes in time where you sort of ease the pressure off yourself, even though you're still driven to succeed. But I would say I wish I would have probably not put so much self-importance and pressure on myself to do amazing things, and just been a little bit more even-keeled and making the right steps to the career that I have now. And you know, I wouldn't necessarily do anything any differently, but I would just be the advice I'd tell my younger self is like, take a deep breath and you're good. You just keep doing what you believe in, and treat other people right, and it'll all work out.
Nice, nice. Sounds like balance is important, right? To not get too frustrated or too slack, right? Keep working. Thanks, Evan. Okay, here's a good one that this is for anyone. Well, it's kind of a long one. Here we go. Given the weird job market, how can job seekers find a job we enjoy while balancing financial needs? Because I think someone alluded to earlier that the surf industry may not always be the high-paying gig that other industries do. So anybody want to speak to that?
I'll say one thing. I would just, you know, honestly, like at the college age, you know, just not putting too much pressure on you making a big salary coming out is a good one. And just knowing that every step that you take, as long as you're growing and learning, and just continuing to create these building blocks that you're raising yourself on. I mean, my first job as associate editor of Surfer magazine was $26,000 a year. Obviously that was, you know, almost before the internet, just after the internet, but still, like you do start, everybody starts at the ground floor, and it's just a matter of persistence and passion and doing the work, and it eventually you find that rhythm to where you continue to build up. So I would just emphasize that. There's always Uber and Lyft too now. We didn't have those back then. Do that on the side.
Well, it
So-
sounds like it was good,
Yeah.
Evan. It was before the internet for you, right?
Exactly.
I don't know did I cut someone off there?
I was saying, having a gig, a side job, always worked. Like I was joking around. I said we had babysitting back then. We didn't have Uber and Lyft, but you know, we did tutoring, we did weekend gigs, events, things like that. And there's always, you could do a little
Yeah.
side job that could end up being your actual job. So you never know. There's different opportunities.
And you just, you know what, you scale back, you learn to, you know, live on a budget, and you just, if you're happy going to work every day, it's worth it, because you know that you'll, you know, you can move up within that company and do something else within that company too.
Awesome. I see here in the chat that side hustle. You got to have that side hustle, right? While you're working hard on your more of your master plan. So awesome. Thank you guys. These are great ideas. And it's good to know, I think, for our younger viewers, that you guys did work hard. You did do these things, these maybe not so sexy jobs, right? In order to get by and to get to where you are. So that's great. What are some of the main challenges students should look forward to when approaching the surf industry? You know, like, are there things, Tyler alluded to saying, hey, I know I'm not going to maybe approach this guy late on a Friday because he might already be wanting to go surf. But are there other things that, you know, roadblocks maybe that you encountered that almost we can hack the surf industry a little bit if we're told in advance about them?
I'll take that one. I think, because that, you know, that's kind of what I did, but I did it in a very different time than the way things are now. But I think, you know, you need to realize up front that every industry is made of people, you know, and your people skills are going to make you or break you, you know, and you need to figure out how to, you know, make a good impression. But what helped me was just trying to help people that I knew, that I liked, and just whether there was something in it for me or not. Like if you saw an opportunity that you knew could benefit someone, you know, you would pass that to them, or you would tell them about it, or whatever. Like, hey, have you heard about this? Or you'd recommend somebody for something. But those kind of things really go a long way. And the more you do it, it's sort of critical mass, and you sort of get the reputation as that type of person that's collaborative and positive and really wants to help people. And having a reputation like that, again, it's gold for your career in any industry, but especially in the surf industry, because as both, I think, Evan and Izzy said, you know, it's a small industry, and if you burn your bridges, it's going to come back to you more quickly than in a bigger industry. So you want to do right by people. And, you know, the thing your mom told you about, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep your mouth shut, really holds true.
Awesome. And just actually what you're talking about right now, we have a question about, you know, if you can talk about your experience with that personal branding, you know, how that has helped you advance in your career. So what are ways people, I mean, now I guess it's a little bit different than it was in the past, but I think some of our students are looking about, you know, they hear a lot about making that personal brand, making good impression. So is there anything that you can suggest for people to do now trying to get into the surf industry? And that's for any of you.
Yeah, I'll take that, and I'm sure everybody else will want to chime in. But I would just say, you know, obviously coming up in a different age when you know, you're thinking about, quote, your own personal brand when you're like 10 years old, which is something that we never even had to think about. And there's a blessing and a curse to that, right? So you're going to be pretty sharp on like how you're presenting yourself to the outside world. And I'd say there's one kind of through line that goes through any era and any generation, and that's just being true to yourself, being honest, having empathy for others, all those things, because any kind of fake, you know, just persona is going to catch up to you eventually. So just ultimately know that like creating some kind of fake brand isn't going to serve you well in the long run. So sorry, yeah.
Hey, that's good. That's good advice. It would be hard to swallow for some, but nice. Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Do you guys, any of you, see potential in the intersection between environmentalism and the surf industry, career-wise?
Absolutely.
Huge.
Okay. Huge, huh?
No.
I mean,
We got about 2 minutes, but let's take that one on.
sustainability is, you know, something that we as a society are quickly coming to grips with by necessity, right? And, you know, in a outdoor industry like surfing, you know, it's front and center of, you know, we're seeing the effects of global warming, you know, every day when we go to the beach, right? So yeah, there's all kinds of intersections, and we've only scratched the surface, I think, as a society of where those two will intersect. So I think there's a lot of room for young people that are growing up with this to be creative and forge their own path. And, you know, my take would be, don't be afraid to try that, because when you look at, you know, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, you know, go right down the list, you know, whoever, like, those are all people that, you know, were sort of outcasts and forged their own path. People were like, what are they doing? So don't be afraid.
Awesome.
It's a key component of just about any brand's, you know, future plans as well, right? And there's a strategic plan. So the whole sustainability component, how you can lighten your footprint on the earth, that's a skill set that is going to be, you know, of high value for any brand moving forward. So.
Totally agree. And like, for example, when you're picking the company to work with, it's really figuring out and knowing what are they doing to help. Like, you know, we installed solar panels on our building. We do recycling. We, you know, I mean, for us, if the ocean isn't clean, it's our office. It's it's where we go to work every day. So the ocean needs to be clean. When I'm picking things for the shop, for example,
The
I think
safe sunscreen.
totally the reef safe sunscreen, the fabrics that what type of fabrics are they? What type of and I like to ask those questions. Where is the fabric? Where is the garment made? And what are you doing to for that factory, for the employees who work there? How are you helping them as a company?
Awesome. Way to be. We have the opportunity to be, you guys have the opportunity to be leaders, set a good example, right? And what a better place for our students to be in San Diego at UCSD, Scripps Institute of Oceanography, right? To try to, you know, be that change in the future. So let's see, I think we are getting a lot of questions about joining the surf team. We encourage you guys to go to our website and you know, see how to get involved. I know Tyler would be excited about that. I think we have time for one last question. Oh, this is a good one. Does the surf industry of today offer the opportunities of the surf industry in your days? Is there a risk of your experiences being anachronistic to today's realities?
There's always a risk of that, right? Times change, but there's a lot of things that stay the same. And, you know, I think what I said before about, you know, now how everything's digital is just one example of that. Like, you know, it's not just about going and seeing where the money changes hands in a retail store. It changes hands over the internet now, and all of that stuff. So that's just one example. I'm going to let some other people jump in.
I can jump in too on that if that's okay. I want to say, you know, when Coco and I first went into the surf industry, there were very, very few women in the surf industry. So I don't know how many of you are women because I can't see the audience, obviously. But anyone now, women, people of color, there's so much more openness in the surf industry. It's changed a lot. It's come a long ways. And the opportunities are there. And I want to encourage people to not feel like they don't belong. The industry has opened up its heart, its mind, and with sustainability and diversity, those are two huge things in the surf industry that have really changed in the past 25 years. And I say, just go for it. And to end on the thing where we talked about what can UCSD do to bring more high-level surfers. We need scholarships, and they need to be recruiting, and they need to have money for the surf team. When I was on the surf team, if we got $50 for gas to go to Santa Cruz, that was a huge win. And you know, our coach was Ed Machado, Rob Machado's uncle back then, and somehow he would score some money from the volleyball team, I think. I don't know where he got it, but it was pretty funny. And he'd stoke us out with some gas money and some burritos. And you know, they need to bring it to the next level. Surfing's in the Olympics, and we're a D1 school. We need to bring our surf team and support them and offer scholarships, full ride scholarships. That's my dream. I would love to see that someday.
Wow.
Real quick, just wanted to add one more thing. I mean, the reality is that there's more surfers than there have ever been before around the world. I mean, like I said, 20 to 30 million surfers. And the industry is close to $10 billion. And there's no better people to make great products for surfing than surfers. So, you know, there's so much opportunity. And like Tyler said, it's just about how dollars are exchanged. It's going to be, you know, different as we continue to evolve, but the opportunities are still there. And I hope that the next generation of UCSD alumni change the game.
Awesome. I love it. What a great way, I think, to end our portion. I'm going to toss it back over to Liz for some closing remarks, but I want to personally thank you guys. I've definitely enjoyed this conversation with each of you. I've learned a lot myself, and I hope our viewers did too. So pass it off to Liz.
Yeah, thank you all so much. That was fantastic. Thank you, Clayton, for moderating. I also want to thank Allison Lane for being our great Zoom host and getting questions over. This was just a phenomenal event. I did put some links and some announcements in the chat. If you didn't get those, they'll come out in the post-event email. This recording will also be sent to you all after this event. And again, just thank you all for coming and attending. We're excited to continue to celebrate the Surf 50th and just get you all interacting with our amazing alumni and staff. So have a great night. Go Tritons.
Tritons. Bye, everybody.
Liz and Tiffany, Clayton, and Allison for putting this on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Evan and Tyler.
Bye. Good seeing you guys. See ya, Blacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black.